In the history of human civilization, there are many examples of mutually beneficial cultural and economic cooperations among countries and people with different political, religious, and ethnic traditions. Undoubtedly, the most important and famous throughout the world was the Great Silk Road. A legendary road stretched from the Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast and crossed the entire Eurasian continent, connecting the Mediterranean and the Far East. It is worth mentioning that it was not just the road from ocean to ocean, it was a cultural and economic bridge between the East and the West. Thanks to the Great Silk Road, people who lived in different parts of our planet were able to trade among themselves. At first, it was just an exchange of items that were available in one place and were not available in other places. For example, silk, furs, precious stones, and a little later, herbs and even food. Culture and art spread along with the goods on the Silk Road. Through this famous road, the first foreign trade operations and the export of goods and services started to develop. This is a very popular Baltic board game. Although its origins go several centuries way back to the east, Oriental ideas began to spread in Europe during the time of the Great Silk Road. This game is called Novus. This is a Baltic game. To date, in addition to our factory, this game could be found nowhere else. But this plant is unique not only for Novus game, but for its main uniqueness, the goods it produces. In Kazakhstan, this product is produced only here. This kind of productions are very rare even in the entire CIS. When we compare our goods with other goods produced by other plants of the CIS region that are engaged with the main assembly rather than with the production of units, we are also quite competitive, and our big plus is our price. X-ray machines that were produced at the Aktup Röntgen can be found in medical facilities not only in Kazakhstan but also in most countries of the CIS region. This is one of the oldest companies in the production of X-ray equipment in Kazakhstan. Its history started at the end of 1941. The plant is already 73 years old. Its history began in 1941, when Moscow factory Mosrentgen was evacuated to Kazakhstan. Initially, it produced subversive machines for the war, then it started to produce X-ray machines. We produce industrial machines and even dental devices.
Потом уже к своей деятельности вернулся рентгеновские аппараты. Мы выпускали и промышленные аппараты, медицинские аппараты, даже дентальные аппараты.
There was a great demand for these types of products not only on the territory of the USSR, but also far beyond. Plant was able to rank among the largest specialized enterprises of the national importance. Production volumes reached 6,000 X-ray machines per year. Today, these figures are more modest, and the work is very active.
Около 300 аппаратов в год.
We produce about 300 units per year, but plant's capacity allows us to produce even more. For now, we are working in one shift, and there are opportunities to work in 3 shifts.
Мы работаем час в одну смену, а есть вторая смена, есть третья смена.
В 2009 году мы создали службу экспорта.
In 2009, we created an export service, a separate department that sells for export only. Since 2010, we started to sell to Russia and Bulgaria.
2010 года мы начали продавать в Россию и в Болгарию.
Kazakhstan is among the 50 largest exporters in the world, and the geography of export of Kazakhstan products includes more than 100 countries. Kazakhstan has gained popularity at the global markets primarily as an energy supplier. We also hold leading positions in other directions. For example, for uranium, we're number 1 in the world. For wheat flour, we're holding the 2nd place. Wheat and crude oil, we're among 10 largest exporters of these kinds of items.
В обработанных товарах, конечно, лидирующее положение.
In the processed products, the leading position, all goods of metallurgical profile. We export a lot of metallurgy, engineering products, also a lot of agricultural products, and products from the chemical industry. Overall, this is multi-billion-dollar contracts, multi-billion-dollar supply. We need to increase the supply and expand its geography.
Нарастить эти поставки и расширить свою географию.
Approximately 200,000 export operations are conducted in Kazakhstan. There is a growing export basket from 880 to 950 product positions. Surprisingly, this is one of the smallest products of the goods found in farthest consumers. Up to 60 million crown cups a year are shipped from here directly to European factories for the production of beer. This is perhaps the most distant point of export of Kazakhstani enterprises.
Следующий этап развития.
The next stage of development is the production of packaging for chemical products, Team Bank, with the application of high-quality multicolor printing that will allow us to have the overall look of our goods according to the international standards. Crown cups were invented in the United States of America in the late 19th century, and the first was made of plain steel without any image on it. Today, for the manufacture of crown cups, tin-plated or chrome steel are used. Up to 900 million crown cups are produced per year at the Temirtau plant. It exports more than half of its products. Most of the costs associated with the withdrawal of products to foreign markets were already returned. This company, as the subject of the manufacturing industry, enjoys all kinds of support from the government.
Пакет инструментов, которые сейчас государство поддерживает наши.
The state supports and provides our manufacturers with a very wide package of tools. Depending on the demand, different tools are used for the support. For example, in 1 year, we conduct more than 30 foreign activities, all targeted at the presentation of Kazakhstan's potential in general sense. And in particular, we carry out each presentation work on the presentation of our trademarks, manufacturers in various fields. To this end, we conduct trade missions abroad and various exhibitions events.
Товарных знаков наших производителей в различных сферах. И с этой целью мы организуем торговые миссии за рубежом, выставочные мероприятия.
Some names of the goods under the brand made in Kazakhstan are not only recognized in the territory of foreign countries, but also have their loyal customers. Sweet, tasty, different candies from Kazakhstan don't stay for too long on the shelves of foreign supermarkets. Elizabeth Walter and Alina Ayapova cannot imagine the beginning of a new day without a tea with their favorite sweets. Girls were a little worried that the stock of sweets that they brought with them to Germany will end sooner or later, and were pleasantly surprised that Kazakhstani candy could be found here too. They were even more pleased to learn that Kazakhstani flour is also available here.
Соскучились мы немного по нашей родной еде. Недавно мы делали бешбармак, звали своих немецких коллег.
We miss our food. We recently cooked beshbarmak. We invited our German colleagues to visit. They really liked it. But most of all, they liked our bauersacks. They even took some home.
Поэтому мы делали из говядины, потому что баранина тоже очень хорошая. Ну, им очень понравилось. Да, им очень понравилось. Они даже унесли немножко баурсаков с собой.
Candy made at the Kostanay factory are available at the foreign markets for 5 years now. Today, about 40% of its production is sent for the export. People enjoy Kostanay candy in 10 countries of near and far abroad. Today, we remarkably increased our export sales. If during 4 years we were able to reach 37% of the entire volume of production and sales, and we believe that this is a good result, we're hoping to increase our sales afterwards. Experts estimated that about 500 different kinds of chocolates were invented in the world, and they're all produced roughly according to the same concept. Expansion to new markets with food products that have a property to soon deteriorate is a risk. Only high quality is not enough. In order for the product to be chosen, it needs to be popular. We try to develop new recipes. The factory produces more than 250 names. Every year we have at least 15 kinds of new products that are available for consumers. Grain, in fact, is the main ingredient in a product that needs no introduction. Brand Kazakhstani flour has established itself in the global markets a long time ago. The main reason, the quality of raw materials. on the territory of Kazakhstan grows an original wheat, not like the one that is cultivated worldwide. These local varieties are adapted to our particular soil and climate conditions. Here, each region has its own characteristics, the required amount of precipitation in the north to the required number of sunny days in the south. Our country occupies about a quarter of total world exports of flour.
Зерно все у нас идет местного производства.
Our grain is locally produced at the western and northern regions of Kazakhstan. Grain in Kazakhstan is of a good quality. Therefore, in regards to raw material quality, we have no problems.
Проблем качества сырья у нас как таковых нет.
Joly factory of bread products is the largest flour mill in the western Kazakhstan region. Its history goes back to the 1970s.
Процесс создания по хронологии выстраивался таким образом. В 1976 году сдается Желаевский элеватор мощностью или объемом хранения 150 тысяч тонн единовременно.
The process of founding the factory lines up chronologically as follows. In 1976, Joly elevator with a capacity of storage about 150,000 tons at a time was for rent. With this volume of production, elevator existed until 1988. In 1988, in the territory of the elevator, the factory of 500 tons per day of grain processing was built and was put into operation. And based on Joly elevator, flour is produced and grain is processed.
Завод производительностью 500 тонн переработки зерна в сутки уже на базе Желаевского элеватора производит муку, переработку зерна.
In 2007, the macaroni products factory was built here. This enterprise produces several types of macaroni products. The factory is one of the largest manufacturers in the country. Production volumes make it possible to supply not only the Kazakhstan consumer, but also its northern neighbor.
Мы работаем в основном на Россию, на
We work mainly for Russia, the nearby region of the Russian Federation, Samara and Saratov. We actively work with our neighbor. We sell our flour and our pasta products.
активно реализуем муку, макаронные изделия.
Россия для нас давний партнер, мы имеем большие и тесные связи, исторические и современные на сегодняшний день. Много интеграционных процессов связано с Российской Федерацией. Это одно, а с другой стороны, как рынок, это очень емкий рынок, то есть большое население. Мы практически производим.
Russia is our long-standing partner. We have great and strong links both in historical and contemporary sense. A variety of integration processes related to the Russian Federation is on the one hand. On the other, it's a very large market with a large population. We produce almost the entire line of products that are consumed by the Russian consumers in almost all spheres. This gives us an absolute advantage, but also geographical position. We are very close to each other. With the creation of the customs union, we see the positive dynamics of growth of trade in general, in particular of Kazakhstan's exports. We're seeing now that the structure of our exports is changing. Now, finished products are exported more often. If before we used to export raw materials, now it's mainly finished products. It says a lot about how our industry, our manufacturing industry in terms of sales, considering the Russian market in the first place, and we assist our manufacturers in developing the Russian market. Working with the border regions of Russia, there is always about 2-3 million people.
Освоение российского рынка. С этой целью мы работаем с многими приграничными регионами России. Это каждый регион по 2-3 миллиона населения.
Today, the share of non-energy exports in Kazakhstan makes up 25% of the total volume of export. As part of the national export strategy, this figure will at least double steadily in 2025.
Мы, во-первых, усилим свою сервисную поддержку. Это через создание сети представительств, которых я уже...
We will strengthen service support through the creation of a network of representative offices. We will expand the range of financial support for exports. At present, there is a mechanism for ensuring export contracts from political and commercial risks. There are tools of trade financing. Many financial tools for exporters will be available, and we're confident that the entire package of tools will put an impact and give a great effect to Kazakhstan's export promotion.
Финансовые инструменты для экспортеров будут доступными. И, соответственно, мы уверены, что весь пакет инструментов окажет положительное влияние, даст большой эффект в продвижении казахстанского экспорта.
As part of the export strategy, 50 countries has already been reviewed, of which 12 were selected, which in the first phase will become target markets for Kazakhstani goods. It's the CIS countries, primarily Russia and Belarus, Afghanistan, Iran, East China, and Eastern Europe. Also, product line intended for export will gradually increase. For example, to China, we started to supply such goods as soft drinks, confectionery, and motor oils. To Austria, sportswear, to Switzerland, bicycles, and to Japan, our honey. And all these products are under the brand Made in Kazakhstan.